The shoe store.
Okay.
And we were kind of considering buying, well, she wanted to sell the whole building,
You
which
get yourself a new coat?
needed so much work, it was more than we wanted
Yeah, I
to
guess
take.
I've had it for a year or two, I just don't wear it all that
Literally
often, so.
thousands
Thank
of
you.
unworn,
Yep, I like it.
dating back to 1928.
I actually have several to choose from, so, you know, just whichever one I happen to grab, usually
And we wound up warehousing them in our barn.
gonna have to go through
And
and
well,
get
she
rid
was
of
still in
them.
LA at the time, so we were
So I have way too many and I can't even hardly get
And
in their
eventually
closet.
she moved back here and, you know, after, it was about 7 or 8 years ago, the monthly good news newspaper,
Yeah, it's like I have clothes I wear every day,
story about
you know,
us,
all
we
the
were
time,
Christmas party for
in the
July.
closet in the bed.
People started to visit.
And then I have another one that's got more dressing
It
clothes in it.
absolutely blast because.
That, like, I went on our cruise,
You know, my dad driving her
bunch
home,
of them.
we'll pull up to the barn and.
But I have some that are left over from when I worked for the attorney.
Well, there's a long story.
Where I had to address cases or shit every day.
Location.
Well, you.
Yeah.
And what, you know what was really cool?
I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah, because first of all, this guy, you know,
Vintage
I don't think I
soul.
was ever out of shape, but I wasn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
things in my background.
Yeah, actually, most of my stuff still fits. I can even get into my dress greens from my military
The
time.
retail is a beast of a business to be.
That's a good thing and a bad thing, because I weigh about the same as I did when I went in when I was 18, which is a good thing, kind of, but everybody keeps telling me I need to gain weight, so not so good.
I guess it's all.
Exactly.
As long as you're healthy, you can maintain your body weight, your body's doing what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Why put on the extra weight?
Well, that's true, but I wouldn't mind 5 or 10 pounds, so.
Yeah, well, you might get that over Christmas.
Oh, sure.
I every time I look
Yeah, yeah, probably over Christmas, because by then I'll already had my food laying around and nothing.
We checked their guns and
Yeah.
doors, so we're good.
Yep, I have an appointment on Tuesday to go in to do 3 surgical labs and whatever. And then on the 14th, I have an appointment and they go in and they crack my chest, so.
going into my
Heavy, wet.
Yeah, they have to
We
replace
heard
it all.
last year we had,
my mother.
more than average snow. but because it was so warm, it didn't stick around. Because I would have said we had.
Yeah, they told me mine is gonna be probably a
Never had
pig
enough
or a
snow
cow.
to do anything with.
And mine's the aortic valve.
Tonight, we might be able to see northern lights.
But yeah, they told me the other day
We should,
when I was in.
we should break it
That,
Yeah, they said
6:44.
they talked
They
about
did,
it. I'm sure at
Or
11.
yeah, half on Monday, since last Monday.
Starlink satellites
Said,
sent up
well,
another
when the
bunch,
doctor goes in
and
to
they go
do
up in,
the
one rocket and
valve
trail off,
replacement,
so
she's
there's
gonna have to do a bypass to fix the
it's gonna go over, it'll have to be
artery that they
followed
found
too.
that was blocked, or
Yeah, they
mostly
were out last
blocked.
night. But now
When
it's
they
all
found
set.
it on Monday, because they said, well, luckily we can fix it while we're here, but she's doing this, so she might as well do that.
Elon Musk might be. Sometimes he's,
What else? Then she has to do, she's gonna put a clip somewhere on my heart to stop it from getting blood clots in there. Because I have that, irregular heart rate. And, yeah. So, I guess that there's a spot in your heart that tends to pool blood and then it creates a clot that can move. So they're gonna put a clamp on that supposedly. And then she's going to do like radio frequency on the backside of my heart.
Watch this yesterday.
Yeah, she says she calls it burning.
Well, that's because you have
But they're going
a bear.
to more or less numb up the nerves back there that are sending the signals that make my heart do the little thing. So, yeah. I don't know. Still, my husband, it's not gonna be a real fast surgery or a very fast recovery. I guess I'm gonna be months in for, they figure 3 to 5 days, maybe as many as 7. Probably the first day of next week.
For the rest of it.
So, they said, yeah, you can.
very good. Call meeting to order.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call.
Davis?
Here.
Worth here. Miller here. Zelinski here. And was it? We are all present.
All right. Well,
Here, we're up to you.
no, this is way out of order on things, but we do not have a policy for, sharing resumes that are turned into us with the public. So we need to, decide whether we want to do that or not. And then we'll go on to public comment after we make that decision.
I'd make a motion that we allow it. It seems only that the people should have some knowledge of who's representing them.
Okay, state your motion.
Oh, I make a motion that we allow the public to see resumes for appointed positions.
I'll second.
Can we have a discussion?
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be for any and all positions moving forward,
Appointed positions moving forward.
right? But that means all appointed positions, committee members, fire department, anything and
You might want to revise it.
anything
Well-
and everything, because you didn't specify.
You're right. I
She
just
said appointed position, so yeah, that does mean planning
And,
commission.
yeah,
ZBA,
any of
and
them,
that.
any of those, and all of those, that it would be mandatory that you share those resumes.
Right.
Can we not second it and reword it?
No,
Sorry.
it's already been
Oh.
seconded,
But,
but I think,
We can make an
More
amendment.
I don't think people's personal information needs to be shared with the public, because there are a lot of things in here that may or may not want to be shared.
so the only other way, if we don't do this, the only other way to do this until we actually, I had called MTA to verify this. Because, and they said, no, not unless Jim walked it in and said, yes, you may share this with the public. Then we could share it with the public, because we got his permission to do so. That is what the attorney said. So, I mean, if we want to do it for this meeting, and we need to go into our policy, and we really need to work on that policy that got dropped during COVID. When we were starting to make changes.
Back when I interviewed, my resume and my application that I was also required to fill out was made public.
Yeah.
And so was everybody else's. And
Not-
we didn't have a choice.
Not
And
the
that had my
application, I
friend's
think,
name,
but-
yes, that was too.
But, that was what, the supervisor told me to do that.
So that was
Okay.
a Paul decision at that point, I guess.
Yeah,
Right,
and
so what I'm saying is, but when people
Dave wasn't
speak,
here.
right,
Yeah.
when people speak, they have to give their name and their address.
No,
They
they
don't
don't,
have to, we ask them to.
they do
And
not
they-
have to.
Their name and,
We make it.
like,
we have to.
basically where they live in our township. I could just say Cinder Road, Interlochen. I don't have to give my specific street address if I'm addressing the public
Okay.
or doing public comment.
Well, tax records are public too.
Well,
So
yeah,
I,
but-
honestly, I think that if they're gonna represent the people should know as much about them. Right? I mean,
Nobody
That's
on
what I
here
think.
has references listed, so
If our attorney said though that we could just ask people, would you like your information shared,
I-
then we wouldn't need a policy, would we?
Correct, but
going forward, we
They-
don't have to do that last
Right.
minute.
Dave wasn't here when that came about. I was thinking, I gotta check on this and make sure. So that's what I did, and, so that I could get everything ready for everybody, but if they don't have a problem with it being shared, I don't have a problem with this.
Well, what's your opinion? Would you want your stuff shared or not shared?
With who?
With
With the public.
If they're, yeah,
Right,
if this
if they're
room
in our
was filled,
audience,
would
then
you
they,
still want it?
they
these
would
three,
know.
it would be
Tonight, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I
Or
mean,
go at
but
any
going forward, like if you were interviewing in 6 months down the road and this room was full, would you have a problem giving out your information?
Would you ask me then at that time again?
No, if we made a policy, I'm saying, if that was
Oh.
the policy.
I didn't realize that the question was to change the policy, I thought.
Well,
There is no
This
policy.
motion technically isn't changing the policy.
It's making changing tonight.
It's-
Oh,
Yeah, but
I wouldn't have a
the way
problem
she,
tonight,
right,
no.
the way she worded it,
Do you have a
it
problem
would
if
be
it
a
were?
policy moving forward, so that's why I had kind of made
Had
that.
references, addresses, phone numbers, yes, then I would.
I don't have a problem releasing my information at all, but I would also question, you know, I know you checked with the association. This is a public meeting.
Correct.
This is a public position. It's not a confidential hire of something, in which case the terms of the contract and stuff may or may not be confidential to the township.
Which is
But-
why I was surprised she said you need it in your policy.
But being public meeting, this is all part of the public record, that anyone can come in and say, I would like to see all the materials from the special meeting of November 30th. So,
Not a closed session, so it's not.
So
Right,
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 it's
right.
legal, but
Right,
But you guys have to think about the fire department, because those are employees.
They're fired, they're not.
They're
they're
hired,
not,
they're
they're not
appointed.
appointed, right,
So
we're talking
the
appointed.
appointed would only be the committees.
No, we should revise that to just be the board, but we haven't got that far.
Where we require resumes, we don't require resumes for the other appointments, just for the board.
Dayton, you were gonna say something, I didn't, no?
I'm good, it's just, my thing is we elected you to do this for us, right? The citizens elected you to do this. Why do we need to see this when you guys are the ones that are going to appoint them? You guys should be able to see them. It shouldn't have to be out to the whole world because we already elected you
To
to do this
represent
job,
them,
to
yes.
represent us as the community to do this.
Right.
But us as
But if it were-
electing them, we know their resumes. So,
No, you don't.
No, you
Not-
don't. I never
When you
had
go
a
to
resume.
election, you don't give out, I don't.
Well, not a
I didn't-
resume, but
I didn't
you
give
know
a
them.
Resume on
You got what I mean?
Rose, or I'm using to choose who I wanted.
but you were able, you had enough time because you knew
You had enough
who
time to
was
research and
running,
do-
so you had enough time to vet them yourself.
And if we're up here, let's say there were 10 other
That's-
people in the room,
To me, that's.
and
on
we're
them.
up here
That's
and we're
not- that's
discussing
not on
resumes,
me.
they don't know
I'm
what we're
not
talking
here
about,
to pick them.
right?
Right.
The
That
10
is
people in the room
the-
aren't voting. and
Yeah.
deciding.
Right, I get that, right.
I think it would be something going forward, because you don't know what's on the resumes that maybe somebody might want to not put on the next resume.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know that we necessarily need to
Hiding.
give out somebody's resume. If they want to do so and they're agreeable, then I think that should be their choice. But I don't think that this board as a policy should say, we're gonna give your resume to anybody who wants it if they come to our meeting. Because there might be information on there that they don't want released. Some people really are pretty picky about who has their home address or their home phone or,
Email.
you know, emails or that kind of information. I mean, there are people out there that they really don't want it released because they maybe had an issue. Maybe they had a stalker that, you know, I don't know what their reason might be, but yeah, I'm just saying that,
Well, let me ask you this, is this whole packet that we have here with all the resumes, can somebody in this room FOIA that? Can anybody out in
Oh,
the
yeah.
public FOIA that? So then what's the difference, anybody? can
well, I
get it?
know,
If
I know.
if they want it.
If they want
Right,
it,
if
right.
they
wanted,
wanted,
they'd
they
get it,
could FOIA it, but then things in it could be redacted
Right,
according
You
to
take out.
FOIA.
right, that's,
Take out a lot of.
So,
Emails, phone numbers.
right, I mean, that stuff could be
I don't think
redacted,
anybody puts their social security number on a resume.
Oh, good.
but anyways,
Okay, call the question.
Just go ahead and roll call it, so we.
Okay, Pussy,
no.
Miller,
No.
Solinsky,
No,
Worth? No. Davis?
Okay.
They're here to
Motion
be
fails.
appointed, so.
Okay.
All right, now we will go ahead and open the public comment at 6:11.
I have public comment. In regards to just what you guys said, personal information by a person that's sitting here for an interview was given to someone, came to my home and harassed and threatened me. So think about the people you're interviewing and them giving my personal information out. They're afraid of their personal information being put out to us to look at. They gave my personal information out.
Okay. Like in business, I always try to help improve the industry or for my employees and everything. When I have staff meetings, I always disseminate some information. And I know sometimes we get caught up in a lot of stuff, but I got some reading here that might be pertinent. Some information might help us grow better. And you can read it or throw it out or whatever you want to do, but knowledge is key. It's always good to learn something new. Okay, we always get caught up in different things. You want to give everybody time. Thank you. You don't need.
No.
Thank you for your time. That's just good information. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, I wanted to say this, sir. The clerk has violated the Open Meetings Act. Second time. The agenda was not posted on the website. Okay? Second time.
There's no requirement for an agenda,
Okay.
but as long as the posting lists the things that will be discussed, this could
That
be
is
used
the
as the
agenda?
agenda. Well, we did an agenda, but this is what needs to be posted for a
Okay,
special
well,
meeting.
that's all that was posted, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment?
Can I comment?
Close.
You're, well, you can comment.
I
I
just
just it up and
really-
I asked him to
just-
comment.
yeah. Just really quick, I just wanted to let everybody know that during the time that I have been a trustee on this board, that it has been a pleasure to represent the township and to work with the individuals on this board. At least the majority of the time, I'm not gonna say that it was 100%, but, overall, the time that I have spent on this board has been good, I think. I sincerely hope that my efforts and the things that I voted for and the things that we tried to build on as a township while I was appointed as a trustee or was elected as a trustee, that they made our community better. Because that was always my goal, was to try to help make my community a better place to live. And I hope that in some way that I have helped with that. So, thank you
Well,
all
thank
for.
Thank you, because you have.
Uh, 6:16, public comment. All right, James Clark had to drop out. He had a family emergency. He wasn't able to make it tonight. And then, for the rest of you, do the round robin thing. We'll start at one end, and then the second question, you'll go first, and go through.
You can start on that.
Jerry, you wanna go ahead and start?
I'm gonna start with Jim.
Okay.
Why do you wanna be a trustee?
Well, good question, I asked myself. Actually wanted to be a trustee, what was it, 10, 12 years ago, when I can't remember who came off the board and Paul asked me to step in, and I didn't have the time then. And in the past year and a couple months, lost my wife, which are still making adjustments, but one of the things that did in my personal life was free up some more time. As those of you that are married or have been single and married or single again for various reasons understand. The other thing that was taking up my time disproportionately was my daughter's health, which has vastly improved over the last 4 years. So I have more free time, and I've always felt that I should be more involved in the township's functioning in some way, shape, or form. And certainly as a trustee on the board, I'd like to bring what I believe are some skills and things that I've learned over the years, both in business and in government or private settings. And I think I could be a help.
Thank you.
Me? Yep. There's several reasons. One, my first is my dedication to the township and the community. I've given a lot of time for several years. The reason I originally became involved was because I had an issue that I had to come to the township for help on, which is still not quite resolved, but that was 7 years ago. And, but then I, enjoyed the process, and I see it as part of my civic duty to do something in some sort of service. The event committee took up a lot of time over the years, so I did let that go only because I knew I couldn't volunteer the time to run events, and because there's a lot of hours spent behind the scenes for that. And as you all know, I come regularly to the meetings and I voice my opinion, so I brought up several issues that I would like to be part of the solution and not just somebody complaining from the audience. I was considering running next year when we had an election, and I was actually looked into what it takes to be, and I already read this way ahead, and then when Sherry resigned, I was like, oh shoot, I don't know, am I quite ready? But I saw that as a great time and opportunity, and so that's kind of my reasoning.
So before Sherry ran, I was thinking of doing it at that time. But I think she did a great job being on the board anyways for us. I've been involved in the community for the last 9 years, doing with the association, the fire department. I started off when I was younger on a board at the VFW. I was on the auxiliary. I made it to about vice president, and I was pregnant, so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna go any further. So I always grew up around volunteering and people on boards, and I want to be on the board because I want to move forward. Our community is getting bigger, and I think we need to look at it as it's getting bigger and move forward for our township. Well, thank you for allowing me to speak in front of you. I would like to be on the board because I feel that it's a civic duty of us
if we don't get involved in our government, we shouldn't be complaining. And that's another thing about voting, we need to vote also. And I have worked with Rose as deputy clerk, and I've learned a lot as far as running stuff like that. And I've learned a lot with political. I'm very involved in the our county political party. I see government as being our servant, not telling us what to do. And I think that, as she said, our community is growing, and we need to get people involved in here and get more communication out, so people know what is going on. And I think that that could be a trustee job, is to help with the communication in the community and see what the pulse of the community is and what they want, and help move it forward.
Thank you.
Did you know that, as a trustee, you'd be appointed to another board or commission by the supervisor? Is that something that you're able to do as well? I mean, it wouldn't be just meeting here, but you'd be on, planning commission, CBA.
Well, they have to take Sherry's spot,
Well, yeah.
CBA for now.
Right, or different things like that, so the CBA meets irregular, but on emergencies, so it's something that you're able to do as well, think about. Another position besides just this one.
Who votes?
Me? Yeah, I mean, that was one of my questions, was I'm already the chair of the planning commission, so, but Mary's on there as well, so I have to give up my position altogether.
Yes.
So I would then be appointed to a different one?
Yeah, you would, take because basically there's one board member per commission, and you would be on the ZBA, Mary would stay with the planning. So you can't have two board members on the
Right, I
planning
didn't
commission.
think so, but I didn't know how that worked, so,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be fine. I hate to lose that planning commission spot, because we're in the middle of a big thing,
Yeah.
but, and I'm not sure.
You can still stay on it, being just as a person there.
No.
She can only be a member of the public.
But if they're already working on a project or a big site plan, you can't finish that out? Okay, I just, yeah,
Yeah,
Got it,
that's not
guys.
even like a policy thing we can change or anything, it's an MCL.
Not people who-
okay.
Yeah, and I understand that. We have to find another committee. Yeah, I would be available. I'm retired now. I actually retired as a realtor, so, taking over, helping out with the planning commission, zoning planning is probably right up my bailiwick.
I became aware of this 4 years ago, working with the planning commission, struggling with the gravel pit. The board member was on each of the committees, and I certainly think there's a lot to do, and a lot of committees to be on, so, yeah, my time is freed up.
Make sure everybody's aware.
Alright, so my question's also kind of about time, as far as, I mean, I think me, Rose, and Therese have to deal with it more often, but as far as like the public contacting you and reaching out to ask questions and stuff like that, would you be okay with, you know, your, I mean, we do 20% of the cell phone or something? Yeah,
No,
Not for trustees.
oh, not the trustees, okay, so,
because they're not called very often.
you're right, but you would be okay with your number being given out to the public so that they could call and ask questions and stuff
I've
like that?
actually been called several times.
Yeah, me too.
Me
But
too.
for the most part,
Recently.
our speaker, a lot, the supervisor.
Yeah, mostly I would defer to the supervisor, wouldn't you? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
if it's
but-
a simple question like, when is junk day, or
when's the
cleanup
meeting or
day,
something,
yeah.
but anything else. Yeah, okay.
But you would be okay with your information being
Yeah,
given
I
out so that
mean,
people could
I-
contact you?
I've been using my phone a lot for work, for reaching out to residents, family members, and doing meetings, so yeah. And I'm okay with that. I think, having communication with the people in your township is very important. So whether they call or email, I'm pretty sure that we can send out emails through the township, so you can have a township email.
Right.
So that, yeah, I don't see any reason not to be able to communicate.
It's fine by me. I'm still getting calls from neighbors, which, you know, one of the best things about the whole gravel fight was I met an incredible number of, I mean, we got wonderful people in Inland Township. And they still call me, what's going on here, you know, so over the last, well, 3 years, 2 years, I've tried to redirect them to people that might know, well, I think that's a treasurer's thing, or I think that's a supervisor or whatever, so, yeah, no, I figure it comes with part of the territory.
Oh, I already said, didn't I? Yeah, that should be fine. I'm, at my job, when we get a call, it's, if I can answer it, a simple question, yes, but anything else, like the press, they go to my boss, so, but yeah, I wouldn't object. I'm real careful about saying things to people, like, I mean, I would tell them what time the meeting is or whatever, but beyond that, it's like, you need to go to the meeting. So, but yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I know we attend yearly conferences and whatnot to figure out what's going on in Lansing and what's coming our way, like with gravel pits and whatnot, and what the state is trying to take away from us individually for individual townships. So I guess my question, other than the ones that have already asked my questions, would be, would you be available to attend conferences to learn more about what we're supposed to be responsible for? I guess we have to start with you.
I would, I would like a little notice, not tomorrow's the conference.
No, we get notice early. And it's usually close, like, it's been over at, Grandfather's Resort, several times, so it's not that far away.
Yeah, I definitely would be available for conferences. In fact, I go all the time and carpool with people and arrange rooms and things like that, so I'm very familiar with that.
Again, getting involved with the gravel pit, I, you know, feel like I've lifted the hood a little bit to see what goes on in our township, and I know there is a lot more to learn, and, one of my foibles, so to speak, is that, I tend to try to read everything. When I became president of the Congregational Summer Assembly, I went back and read all the minutes dating back to 1905, and it's like, why'd you do that? See where we're coming from. So, yeah, I think there's, while I might know a lot, I know that there's more that I don't know. So, and things change and policies change, like the, you know, wind farms and solar farms, and, you know, I have been involved with a couple other townships across the state, you know, regarding their fights with gravel pits and so forth. So, I've learned a little bit more, but I know there's a lot more to learn.
And yeah, absolutely, I was just looking up there's one in Lansing coming up. I find sometimes in those situations, to get around like-minded people, you get even more into it, and when you can discuss this kind of thing, it, really encourages you to wanna be educated and be able to speak about what they're talking about, so, I love that kind of stuff.
And NTA did recently start, just in case, I mean, because everybody has lives, and there, if you can't attend a conference that you would really like to, they are now recording them all, so you can pay a lesser fee. You won't be able to, you know, ask questions, but you can watch the whole conference online now. So my question, my first question, I guess, is, so a few of you mentioned that you would like to see the township continue to grow and improve, and so what are your thoughts as to where our township needs to improve, and what would you like to see happen here, as far as ordinances, anything?
I guess I start. I think improvement in communication is important. I noticed that we now have a Facebook page over here in Interlaken. And I did try to start a Facebook page a few years back, and that never got any traction, but I think, communication with people is important. Having classes in government. I just took a class in the Constitution, and it was really an eye-opener. Getting people to understand what the government is all about, and it's something that should be there for you when you need it, not so much taking care of you. Government is supposed to be for us as far as they be our servant. And I would like to see people know what government is supposed to do, so that maybe people can get more involved, because then they realize that, hey, I'm supposed to be doing this instead of the government. So getting more camaraderie and more information out, more people involved. Maybe little barbecues or something in the neighborhood, getting neighbors together and talking about the issues that are concerning in our township is a big thing. And I know that we could probably get an email set up through the township that we can get information out. I know we can send postcards out. I mean, you get your newsletters and things, and I think that that would be a big thing to start with, is communication and education.
One of the things that I would not like to see happen to Inland is as it continues to grow, is people from the outside moving here because it's such a lovely place, but bringing particularly big city ways that, oh, we should have this, we need our own opera. What, it just, and I think that's gonna, planning committee is well on their way of looking into those kind of issues. But I think with the long-term planning that's coming, we've got a fight with Lansing trying to take over our decision-making process, and whatever we can do to put stumbling blocks in their way. They have the power now with solar and wind. I think there are ways that we can stop them, as far as ordinances, I think there's, some sound ordinances that can be put in place that,
That's, according to my understanding of the bill and everything that I read about it, that's what their law is gonna be, that you can't out-ordinance them. They override your ordinances, so if somebody's willing to sell them the land to put up a solar place, we can't stop them.
State trumps all.
State trumps.
state trumps all, but, having a deep dive into the gravel statutes.
Right.
There are things that the state doesn't look at. There are so many conflicting policies that the state
Right.
has, that, they need to follow this, they need to follow some federal regulations, while they'll puff their chest and say, we have total control, they don't.
Right.
And there are ways of stopping them. But I think that, as we're growing, and we seem to be growing at an accelerating rate, I think the pandemic contributed considerably to that, people moving to far-flung areas like Benzie County. We need to look at what kind of infrastructure, do we really need, not just the fire and EMS services, but, what else is necessary? How does that affect the taxes that we have? What kind of surplus do we have now? How do we want to use it in the future? I think there are a number of issues that need to be addressed, looking more than just a couple of years down the road. So to answer your question, those are just some of the issues that I'd like to get involved in.
For me, for the township, I recognize that there's growth and it's needed. However, I like the idea of big spaces. We have a 5 acre minimum build on rural residential, which, or 2.5 acres, sorry, so I like that. I mean, I was just reading about a development in Traverse City where they could put like, 70 houses on a 1 acre parcel or some ridiculous thing, and it's like, eek. That, I don't want to grow that big. I do believe that we do have room within the township in certain areas, if that's how people choose to live and that's what they would like, then, because some people like to be able to see their neighbors. I personally don't, and I work in town and I drive all the way out here for that quiet. So I would like to be able to keep the community, the up north feel, if you will, but still be within a reasonable distance of a place that you can work. We have some nice businesses out here. I wouldn't be opposed to having a few more businesses that could employ people. As much as I'm not a fan of the Dollar General, I mean, I thought, hey, that's great, I wouldn't mind driving that far for work. So it is nice to have some options for, I don't know, manufacturing or something. It'd be nice to have a place that could hire 20 people or something, so we don't all have to, because traffic, I worked from home for 3 years and now I'm back in the office, and the roundabouts help, but the traffic is way worse than it ever was, even pre-COVID, so, yeah, it's tough. I have that farmer mentality, like, I like my space, and I don't want to be able to touch the neighbor's window from my bedroom, so, but, yeah, so that's just the same, people here like to just live their lives in peace and be able to do kind of what they want on their property, as long as it's not bothering other people, and I'm all for that, so, yeah, some growth, but not explosion.
Like Laura, yeah, I like my space, but we know that it's coming this
Yeah.
way from Traverse City, so we need to maybe do education in the township. We need to adapt and make it where it's better for our residents, because it's pushing this way, and there's
How do you
nothing
see
we
us
can
making it
do
better?
about it. Well, I mean, there's round, I mean, well, yeah, round, because of the traffic on
Right,
31, they're gonna keep coming.
It's getting crazier.
It's getting crazier. Is there anywhere for them to live out here? No, not really, I mean,
It's just state land.
right. But they're coming. And as far as even like how they're bringing the internet out to us now, there's more and more people with gas, that's getting gas. And we need to grow with the township.
Sherry, have a question?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry, first one, yeah.
I don't have any more questions.
Anybody have any current, conflicts of interest they can think of that would need to be resolved before you can take the position? Can't think of one.
Mine would be the planning commission, and technically I'm not involved with the blight issue anymore. I think the township took that over.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I mean, if something were to come up where it was a session that we needed to vote, I would have to excuse myself on that one, I think, because I'm a neighbor,
Yeah.
so, but other than that, no.
you brought it, you were one of the people that brought it before.
I brought it originally,
So I think you-
settled it, but then it came back and then the township took it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, Rose is my house sitter when I go on vacation, I don't know if that doesn't matter.
Do you have an idea of who could possibly replace you on the zoning, and how do you feel about having to give that up?
Well, if I were to choose from the people on the committee for the chair, I would choose Mary.
Really can't be married.
Oh, right, cause I wasn't on there.
Trustees can't be chairs of subcommittee.
So someone else would have to fill my spot, right?
We'd have to appoint somebody else to the board and pick a new chair, whether
Well,
it's that person or, well, yeah.
they do their own choosing.
You don't have to appoint somebody new, because she would be staying on, right?
No,
There's only
but
one
we
person
need
that should be
another,
on there.
we need another person for that.
Right, but it doesn't have to be a board member.
Right.
Oh, no,
We just have to
can't-
appoint another
can't
member,
be.
another person.
Yeah, I hadn't, that was something I wasn't sure about. I wasn't sure if like I could beg Mary to leave and I could keep my spot. Or something, you know, like, so I have a few people in mind. It depends. I mean, only one of us is getting this job, so maybe one of them I would pick. Or maybe I can keep on if I don't get, you know what I mean? It kind of depends on what happens here tonight, so. I do enjoy that position, I've learned a lot, and I'm good at fiddling with things and finding things, and I'm very careful about saying, Mary can contest that some of the meetings run a little long, because I wanna see it in writing before I make any decisions, so. I like that position, but, I could find somebody to replace.
Which position do you feel is a better contribution to the community?
Well, this position has a bigger reach in the sense that you get your hands in more issues, and also the planning commission recommends things to the board, so if the planning commission, I would still kind of have my fingers in the pie, so to say.
Right.
The planning commission would send their recommendations to me, and then if I still want to pick it apart from there, from that seat, I could do that. So I wouldn't essentially be losing that power, if that's the right word. I don't think that's really the right word, but, so I would still have
Some
some
say,
Yeah.
skin in the game, I guess.
Conflict of interest?
No.
Okay. I can't think of anything else that I would ask. Do you have any more questions? I'd just like to say, I was really happy to see how many people wanted to be on the board. And I thank all of you for coming prepared to answer whatever we would throw at you. I know it's not a comfortable spot to be in, and I hope you also realize, because of the quality of people in front of us, it's a difficult decision. And I think we've all read over the information that you've given us. And I think we all know your heart is there to help, and that's really appreciated. Did you think of something else?
No, just some of the things that were said, like, I just hope that everybody realizes that, like, exactly what you want isn't necessarily as important as the people you're representing, right? Like, you're supposed to be representing the public and the community, and not pushing your own wants, needs, desires.
We hold on for a second, we got two different conversations going on. We got a conversation over there, and then we got you asking questions,
Well, she just,
and you can't hear, so you can't understand what's going on, so. Can we either have one or the other, please?
Go ahead, sorry.
no, what were you guys go ahead.
We were just trying to figure out if Sherry was voting
Yeah,
or not.
or if I have to abstain.
But your job doesn't end until tomorrow. does it?
Correct.
Right.
I do believe that there's a rule that you can't vote for your replacement.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's what we were trying to, she said that,
That's what you, okay.
so,
That's what I looked up.
yeah,
Yeah, under that same impression.
okay. Well, then I can't
And
vote.
I don't
That's
know
fine.
if that's for sure the rule. I mean, I don't know if you wanna find that out before we vote.
You can't vote to replace yourself.
Conflict of interest maybe, I don't know. But if it's a rule, it's a rule. I'm good with that.
Well, are we certain it's a rule, is my question.
You looked it up.
Right, but I don't know that, look, you called MTA and got a different answer than when I called them, so who knows what the rule is?
Do we wanna take a recess while we check it out,
You could just
or not?
choose to abstain.
Yes, I'll just choose to abstain.
Okay.
Let me do that, and then we don't have to worry about it.
You were gonna say something else.
Yes, we're saying something else.
Well, I just asked, I don't even remember now, honestly.
You said it's about them, not us.
Right, and I
Oh, yeah.
think that people understand that, right, and that would vote,
I hope so.
right,
I mean, we're here to represent the community.
never mind, right.
So can I ask a question on the process? Is this, do you guys go into closed session? Do you do it all right out loud or on paper?
All right, here.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'll make a motion, no, I won't. I guess I have to think of how I wanna say this first. Just give me a minute. to remember
Oh,
how
just
I
make it
wanna say
simple, we make a motion to appoint, effective December 1st, and
So it's effective December.
Okay, I'll make a motion. I move that we, appoint Monica Phoebe for the duration of Sherry's, term, thank you, term, to be effective starting tomorrow, December 1st.
have a motion to appoint Monica for the duration of Sherry's term effective tomorrow, December 1st.
Discussion?
You didn't need a
No.
second.
Discussion happens after second.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'll second.
Discussion.
One of the things, I really don't wanna lose you as the planning commission person, because I think you're doing such an excellent job there. And like you say, you get into the details and everything, and I really appreciate that. And I really think that you're doing a great service there, and I'd hate to replace you. And I'm sure, like I said, you're all very qualified, your heart is all where it should be to help out our township, and it is difficult to try and get it down to one.
I have a comment for the discussion for there. So there's no truth to the rumors that there's a lawsuit against one of the candidates? Specifically, the one we just,
I have no idea.
Does not share the rumor. What, you want to enlighten the rest of us?
well, I heard it from our supervisor, so maybe he
Lawsuit
would care.
against the candidate?
I'm sorry, no, a lawsuit from the candidate
Oh.
against the township and the last election.
Was that dropped, the,
I don't know what
I'm not a candidate, so you can't be talking to me. I have no lawsuit going.
You're candidate for the job, is what she
I have no
said.
lawsuit going.
Can I speak? My wife didn't wanna say, but the person that gave out our address to be harassed was this young lady here.
I don't even know where you live.
Well, that's the name the lady told us.
I have no idea where you live.
Well, that Mary said that you gave her
I
our
have
address.
no idea where you live.
Yeah, I don't know where you got it, but
I do not know where you live.
That's all I want.
Monica, stop.
that's all I wanna say, yeah. Thank you.
She told me that you had a list of all the people who signed the recall, so you do.
My name is on the recall list.
I
And
do
you-
not look at anyone's address. I have no reason to look at anyone's address.
Well-
So, no,
Well,
that's
that-
not. So
Then that
that's
lady
not-
lied.
Okay,
It's
not
well, it's an
fair.
ethical question to me, honestly.
Right.
It's a very, and I got a call from the same lady accusing me of things
We don't want
that
to.
came from, right, and I'm, we're not gonna get into all of
Yeah.
that. But Monica's name was mentioned in the phone call, and so I have some serious concerns for ethical issues. I do.
Right.
I have not done anything unethical. I'm sorry. Unless you have proof, please don't accuse me and defame me, because I have done nothing.
I'm just saying, I have concerns of it. I have concerns.
Well, bring
I've
the
had
proof
comments,
on,
I've had
and we can
things.
talk about it, but I have done nothing unethical.
Well, I think we have some very fine candidates here that we don't have concerns of, and I think we should seriously consider that.
No more discussion.
Sherry, do you have anything?
What's that?
General discussion.
I'm abstaining from all of that. I'm not voting, I'm not commenting, I'm gonna be hands off, guys. You don't really wanna hear what I have to say on some of this anyway, so. I'm just gonna sit over here and I'm gonna be quiet.
I'm having them now. Seriously.
Call the question.
No question?
Okay, Miller? Yes. Zelinski?
No.
Worth? Yes. Davis?
No.
It's a tie.
Yep.
Therefore, we can move on.
I make a motion that we appoint Jim Brower to replace Sherry effective December 1st.
Discussion?
Could you second?
Yeah.
I think, I'm with Mary, I think that everybody here would do a phenomenal job. I think I would hate to see you have to leave there, and I know it's a tough decision between the two, and I think that Jim, and I know you do too, and I know that you do, I know everybody here does, but I think that you have tremendous, work history, you have a lot of free time. I think that's key for being able to be really involved in learning what's going on in this office and in this building and in other people's jobs. And so I would really like to see you have that opportunity.
Mary, Rose, anything?
Miller? No. Zelinski?
Yes?
Worth. Yes, Davis.
Motion passes. Carries.
I'm sorry.
Congratulations.
This is so
I'll
hard.
say,
I have
think
been
that
struggling
Jim is
all
a
day.
Excellent choice, he has a presence that's calming, and I work with him, we work with him in the planning commission, we know how thorough and detailed he
Just
is.
sucks, I feel like you lost it because you're good at the other.
I know, and it is true, and I don't wanna see you
For
take
you.
the planning up, and I don't wanna see you take away from your school and all the other things you have going on, and I know that it's a lot more work than anybody realizes to be sitting here.
It is. Well, thank you. I hope
It's not a blessing.
be careful what you wish for.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't blame me if you don't want
Thank you for all your years
Yeah.
of service.
Thank
All-
you.
All of you.
Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is this poverty exemption resolution. The state basically passed a law that the assessor, if somebody's on a poverty exemption, he can just go ahead and apply it to the next year. But this is what our lawyer's law firm had written up as far as what it should say, and talking to Gunner, he doesn't feel it's something he would ever even use, but it's something we can put in place for him to have, and then it'll just be attached from now on to regular poverty exemptions, because it's the new law. As far as how it works, we don't know. The state says we have to pass this by December 1st if we want it. They said they might be able to get us paperwork and stuff on it by the 19th.
Okay.
Have to pass it so you know what's in it.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
kind of.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, we really don't use, like, I've never had a full property or poverty exemption, so it's not even something we will most likely use. It's just something that has to be there in case. And then we find out what's in it.
I was gonna say, I know I'm not on the board
It
yet.
is
I have a
misspelled.
few more
Yeah.
hours.
So you better study up.
Well, I have a fancy law firm of his.
My only concern is
on your program.
adopting something that has hidden time bombs in it that you don't know what else, well,
And they did that.
property exemption is the title, and, yeah, but it also included these 5 things that, well, we weren't aware of that.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that if you don't have it by the 1st, why can't you adopt it at some other time when you
Yeah, we're
actually
just
know
gonna say, can't
what
we
the
adopt
hell
it
it is?
another time?
Yeah, it was, honestly, if we weren't already having this meeting, I wouldn't have been bothered with it. Cause,
Let's postpone this then. I make a motion that we, postpone voting on the resolution for continued poverty exemption.
Yeah, right, and
Idiot.
change the spelling to continue instead of community or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I'll second that we wait.
alright. And then,
How long do we have to wait on that?
I would say until they get the rest of the paperwork.
Well,
you know,
that's the date.
no, like,
February
honestly, if we
meeting.
don't pass it right now, it just doesn't go into effect this year.
Right.
And then next year, when we do the property exemption thing, it'll be
Oh,
It'll be on there.
in there.
Okay.
Oh,
Ability.
yes, sorry. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Trish did.
Okay,
That's why I asked you the question.
alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, motion carries. What? Yes. The, one other issue that I'm aware of is, apparently it costs more to put our sign up than what was estimated
And
and approved. So we need to approve another $1,904.24 because of the way the frame, is that what it was? The frame wasn't,
Yeah, and I thought I brought that to you and told you
you did,
that it was gonna.
But we have to
What
approve
was
that.
it again?
We just have to approve 1904-24.
I move that we approve 1904-24 additional funds for the sign.
Support. I like the new sign.
Oh, it looks great. I can't send the check out if it's almost $2,000 more than what we approved.
Send out what you approve, see if they write payment in full.
Well, I don't write the check out, I just send it out.
When they tore down the old one, they, the support wouldn't support the new one. So they had to take it and then fabricate, make a new ankle, so they had to get more steel, and cost of steel these days are expensive, so that was the difference.
So, just a question, I mean, how can, if you guys have a quote, and the board approved the quote, how can the extra work get done without board approval, and you have to come in after the fact and pay them? That doesn't seem kind of right. I mean, because if you get a quote, and all of a sudden it's gonna maybe be $10,000 more, or $1 million more, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it's approved, shouldn't there be like another meeting or an approval before the work gets done to spend extra money?
No, it was if it was a quote, yes, but it was a estimate. And it was, I mean,
Right,
So
so,
it voted on an estimate, not on,
yeah,
not on a
Contract.
contract.
right.
we didn't sign an actual contract, right?
So we have to really
You
vote.
did on a quote, but in that first original quote, it did say that there may be more
You're right.
due to installation. They estimated the installation cost.
Yeah.
The same way as they estimated on the quote, they estimated the electrical hookup.
Right.
Electrical hookup they put in like $350, that could have only been 100, and they would have took off the
Right.
price, is what I understand, because I questioned
I
it
have
too.
their thing right here.
Yeah, I questioned
Their
it too.
paragraph reads, this estimate covers the services specified above. If the scope of the work changes from the original estimate, approved revisions and additions will be charged accordingly. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us.
So approved revisions.
And I took that to the supervisor. When I got that, when they said that it was there was more stuff, I took that to the supervisor.
He told me that they were gonna have to redo, I didn't have the
We
price.
didn't realize
but-
it was gonna cost that much.
Yeah,
So we did
So
approve
that's-
that they,
Did they do the work, right?
Yeah.
We just didn't realize it was gonna cost as much as it did.
yeah.
But then again, I mean, that happens all the time. I
Mhm.
had a
Because
company
that's
come
on
out
me.
last
I
fall to
apologize.
do my ends.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's-
Well,
I know, but
You know,
they came out, they gave me an estimate, what it was gonna cost, they got it into it, it was way more work. They had to completely replace the well. I just happened to be standing there when they said, well, you know, we can do this, and go cheaply, and next year you're gonna pay us double to come back and fix it again, or we could do it this way, and you know, only cost you $4,000 instead of 8 next year.
but
They
it,
said, do it.
but
I'm
the
standing
point is, if it needed approval,
the
why
approval
didn't,
was-
why didn't you
Rosemary,
guys have a special board meeting to do
The
that?
approval was given, the board members or the supervisors simply didn't understand how much more it was going to cost to do the work.
Well, that should
But
be a
approval
question.
was in fact given.
Yeah.
Call the question.
Yeah, it was a Saturday, they had the signs hanging from a crane,
Right, and we approved the additional
Yeah.
charges now, so we're.
questions
Yeah.
have been called.
Yep.
Mhm.
Lissy,
Yes,
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
Worth, yes, Davis?
motion carries.
oh, I gotta go out to the car, get my keys. Okay.
Reopen public comment at 7:06.
You don't have to return it now. I'll be here.
Did we just say thank you for your
Yeah.
time and consideration?
Thank you.
You know you had a tough choice.
Yes.
Very
Yes, we did have a tough choice.
Which
That's a
Yeah,
very good thing.
that is a good thing, when we have good candidates and there's some serious, you know, people really have to think about who to vote for.
It's
So,
really
yeah.
weird feeling to interview for a job where you already know how it works, the dynamics are.
Yeah.
Usually you go in and you're like, I don't know anything about you except what I saw on the
Yeah,
Were you
yeah.
nervous? Were you nervous coming in? Were you nervous coming in?
Thank you all for
I'm
coming
always
in.
for interviews.
I was so nervous because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
I know.
Because
I'm glad there
I
was a
think
big
everybody had
turnout.
strong, great points. And
I
I,
thought you guys were gonna have tougher questions. Actually.
I had some tough questions, but some of them I just didn't know how to phrase them in a way that made sense. And I also, all of your resumes were great, so I kind of answered some of them.
Yeah, your resumes were very thorough.
Swear him in tonight, or do you have to swear him in tomorrow?
After sharing.
Probably tomorrow,
Mhm.
you'll have to come in and swear in.
I don't swear.
I know, I don't either. But there's this thing that you have to
That's
sign.
why we didn't get it, we
So-
swear.
I mean, technically, because you bought my lunch last Friday.
We'll do it Monday or
So this would be
Tuesday.
Sherry's turn to buy lunch, so
Okay.
I guess Jim just buys me lunch and then we'll swear in.
So,
You didn't know buying me lunch was part of being a trustee?
so,
Wendy's coupons,
I don't know.
are you gonna be here tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Friday.
Okay, because maybe I'll just pop up and bring you the keys then.
Okay.
when and where do you want me?
I don't know what time.
10 or 9, 10?
Pick one.
10.
9:30? That way if it snows, you have a chance to shovel out like I did.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember it snowed.
Yeah.
All this melt tomorrow morning, it's gonna freeze tonight.
That parking lot is slippery.
No, no.
Yeah.
It is very.
Yes, it
The
is,
parking lot's
very.
always slippery.
I was walking like a penguin.
It was very slippery.
I went about
So
3
you don't
feet.
have office hours tomorrow?
Right?
No, they're not here on Friday.
I do Tuesdays
We're
and
closed on
Thursdays.
Fridays.
Okay,
No,
well, I
it's
just didn't know
not.
why you were gonna be here.
I'm gonna work tomorrow for a little bit.
Yeah,
before I
the meeting's done.
grab some,
You adjourned the meeting?
Yeah, you adjourned, right?
Getting things together for a new board.
I'm
guys
going to
adjourn?
Fred,
Okay.
dress
Did
shopping.
you guys adjourn?
Another one.
No, we haven't.
My daughter now.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
She's getting married?
I'm gonna close public comment so we can adjourn and then we can
Oh,
go
I
back
thought
to
we
chit
did
chat.
that.
That's all 9.
Move to adjourn.
Support.
Your son?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You said June
Meeting closed.
7th?
No, I'm waiting for July.
Seven.
July. Is that no mine still?
Yep.